Kamna is a digital marketing mentor at Pixel Track and excel in mentoring, content creation, and AI tools. She's a background of tax executive at Deloitte India, so she's also worked with one of the big fours, and she graduated with distinction in BCom honors from Christ University. So she's an alumna of Christ. Right now, Kamna has also conducted 40 plus training sessions across India on various life, business, and personal development skills. She advocates for women empowerment, promoting gender equality and opportunities for women in all spheres. So, welcome, Kamna. Thank you for taking out time and joining us here.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me here.
Great. So Kamna, though I have introduced you briefly, but we would appreciate if you can, sort of share your journey. How did you end up in your digital? How did you end up as a digital marketing mentor from tax executive? Because yes, that's a very different background. And also, if you can give some tips around career readiness, how students can prepare for an entry level job when they're going for the interview. What are the things they should keep in mind? And what can help them to bag their dream job. So that'll be great.
Sure, sure. A very good evening to everyone present here. It's a great privilege to, be here. This feels like homecoming. So yeah, this definitely feels like homecoming because, I think it was almost a decade ago that I had actually enrolled and, applied for one of the Talerang programs when I was back in college. And I think it's great seeing how wonderfully Talrang has been evolving, growing, reaching so many people, really expanding. So I think kudos to Talrang and definitely deserves a huge round of applause. And before I talk about my journey, let's talk a bit about what Talrang is doing. So what I have seen is a lot of professionals, what do they do, right? They'll rant on LinkedIn or they'll rant in their discussions that, hey, why do these companies want work experience when they are hiring freshers? And then freshers are stuck in a loop because they are like, array, all the companies that are hiring, they want work experience. So that is one big loop. And that is exactly where I think Talrank perfectly fits in because that is what they are doing. They are coming in and making our generation today work ready, right? Now, work ready is a term, but for the sake of you guys, let's actually understand what it means. Formal education is one thing, just going to college, finishing a graduation degree, or completing the entire process in whatever field, just like that does not certify you to face life, face the challenges of your relationship, right? You need to have some education on that. You need to go ahead, and if you want to take care of your health, you need to go educate yourself on that, right? Just like that, it's okay for education to be the base of whatever you want to do, but there is another kind of specialization you need in being work ready, because when you are transitioning from a college life to a professional life, that's the word, right? There is a transition, and that means there is a gap, there is a bridge. So Talrand comes in and they are actually helping you in making that transition smoother. Like, there are a lot of people who can learn driving on their own, but it always helps to go to a driving school. Why? Because you'll be learning it in a safe environment, you'll be doing it in a much more safer, efficient, legal way. So that's exactly why I think programs like these are amazing. And instead of just being a part of the loop, they are breaking the loop, giving the young adults a great opportunity to grow and really succeed. Now, while I say this, I in no way undermine the importance of formal education, because again, these days I see a lot of youngsters having the mindset, like in my own family, I've seen my cousins after their 12th standard saying, hey, why should we study? Let's just get to work, right? Because they would have known that, okay, Mukesh Ambani dropped out from Stanford, or, Mark Zuckerberg was a dropout. But hey, consider the fact that they were actually educated enough, they were actually hardworking enough to get in there. So let me take you back to, my college days. So once I graduated from Christ, there was an event for which I went back after a year or two as an alumni. And I saw two students there who were in the first year when I was in the final year. So after 2 years, they were in their final year. They were at campus. But you know what? So I was expecting they'll say that, all right, we are ready to graduate, and they were working on a startup. But interestingly, the news they broke to me was, yes, we are working on a startup, but we are going to drop out. But they never started off with the fact that they're going to drop out. They actually entered college, they found a business plan there, their startup grew to such an extent that if they did not drop out, they would have to really lose out on the growth of their startup. So only and only, so that was literally two people from an entire batch of 500 people, right? So it's only and only if something like this happens, I think dropping out or not going for formal education should be a factor. Let's not have the mindset that education is not important, any kind of training is not important. It's very important, and it plays a really important role. And that's why if you see, one out of maybe a million people are dropouts, but all the other successful startup founders are either graduates from, I'll not name any institutions, but they are graduates from XYZ colleges. They would have done a management course, they would have done engineering and then done management, people at top consulting firms, right? So formal training, formal education is very important in today's day and age. So, that's the first thing I would like to emphasize here. Now, I'll take you back again a bit in time before talking about my journey with career. I would love to talk about my time with Talrang because, again, as I told you, it's been almost a decade, right? Almost 9 years ago when I had 8 to 9 years ago when I had done this program. But I still remember how professionally, in how friendly a manner this was actually, pulled out. There was extensive training. Like I remember the activities were so engaging that I was really pushed to think through what were my previous interests, what are my future goals, and to create a bridge to align those. To find out, a lot of us want to, I mean, I'm sure, right? Most of you here, you want to follow your passion, you want to turn your passion into profession. But what happens is generally we have a lot of thoughts, but you need a mentorship program. You need someone to give you direction to actually change those thoughts into a reasonable direction that helps you reach your goal, right? So that is what Talrang did. When I had gone through Talrang, there's a part where they actually help us identify our interest area. And though I was doing a course in commerce, I ended up, figuring out marketing was the skill track that somewhere I would be interested in. And obviously, how they did it was via a lot of activities. As I told you, some goal setting. What happens is we define goals very vaguely. Okay, I want a job, but you need a space where they drill you a little to think deeper. What kind of job, what are your priorities, what are your values, right? So those kind of things were amazing, and I think there's still one takeaway that I apply in my daily life, that is reflecting. Most of us, our lives go on, our careers go on, our okay, BCom kar liya, chalo na job mein continue kar hi lete, or okay, psychology kar liya, let's just continue on this path. But hey, life is not meant to be that way, right? So there was a very important point of daily reflection that actually was something I acquired since then, and it's been 10 years, and that practice has actually been on since then. Apart from that, what happens is as you grow, right, you'll realize this networking, being professional. So I still remember there was a concept of elevator pitch that we were exposed to, and we were perfected till the T. Each person was given individual feedback. Each of us got like complete time to come give a performance for all kinds of activities, right? So I think that's the best kind of learning that all of us want. A fun environment, diverse set of people, individual feedback, and a space which is actually helping you grow intellectually. Plus, at the same time, stop and think in the direction that you are growing in, and to make that a continuous process in your life, right? So that's how my time with Talrang was. And I still remember they offered an internship, but because I was in Christ, first year we have to do like an NGO internship. So I requested for flexibility. So even 1 year later, they were ready to give me an internship, and I still keep seeing emails for the alumni, this job opening, that job opening. So I think it's very important that as a young adult, you start building your network, you start expanding and creating your own networks. I was talking to one of my friends who's getting into a university in London, and she's like, there is no concept of a career fair or a proper placement. We have to build our own networks, we have to do our own outreach, right? But here we are being served on a platter opportunities to find out our skills, to find out companies coming in, hiring us, and getting, really things made very easy. So I think as Indians, it's something that we should totally, go ahead and tap on, right? So definitely that's something that boosted my confidence, gave me clarity and takeaways as I just shared. So now finally coming to, giving you a brief about my journey, how I went from commerce to marketing and training. So, starting out with my journey, I got into Christ. I completed my BCom honors degree. And while I was there in my college, right, I never looked at just studying, getting grades, and graduating. I always wanted to do internships because we are in 2024, right? This is the era of micro gigs. This is the era of internships. There are so many platforms, so many opportunities. These were there back then also. So what I used to do was I started like a small startup of, tempered glasses with two, three of my friends, started meeting more people with that. I also applied for some part-time internships in various roles. I applied for some in community management, some in operations, some in going ahead and in marketing. Now that was giving me an opportunity to understand which domain actually interests me, right? So that's the first suggestion I would want to give you. Either definitely programs like Talerang, otherwise also some micro opportunities, some micro internships you keep getting. It's always a great idea to go ahead and apply. However, since I had done my official degree in graduation in commerce, I decided to go ahead because one thing that I had in mind was if I ever want to go back to working at Deloitte or any other MNC, it's not possible. But right after college placements, it's possible. So I wanted to give myself a fair chance of exploring whether I am meant for that or not. I didn't think I was, but I wanted to give it a fair chance. So I went to Deloitte. I worked for a year, and what I did was on the side, I started acquiring skills for marketing. And after that, I went ahead, I started freelancing, and then I happened to enroll in some other training programs. I happened to meet the founder of the training program, and he himself offered me an opportunity to join his startup, which was another, digital marketing agency and training firm. And after I joined him, what happened was all the internship experience I had, right, in community management operations. Since I joined a startup, I had to actually take care of all the things: sales, high ticket sales, webinars, community management, and multiple various roles. So that's how I ended up there. Went ahead and have almost trained around like 10,000 students, conducted 500 plus webinars, and side by side, when that became stable, when I started feeling like, okay, I'm stable here, then on the side I started upskilling myself as a trainer in personal development and other skills, because that was another thing I wanted to grow on. Then I went ahead and I've been to various cities across India: Ahmedabad, Mysore, Baroda, Bangalore, obviously, and conducted various training sessions. And I've also conducted a couple of training sessions for the government college students in association with the government of Karnataka, some scheduled caste, scheduled tribe children in Telangana, and various other training gigs is what I do. And currently, I also work as a digital marketing mentor with Pixel Track, which is an agency that is run by Deepak Kanakaraju, a digital marketing influencer. So that's a brief about my journey. And before I end this, quick talk, few pointers that have helped me in navigating my journey. So, the first pointer is say yes to opportunities. So, what really happens is the reason I got my job at the previous startup was because number one, I enrolled for a training program. Number two, there was a meetup that was being conducted by the organization, but I was feeling very lazy that Saturday. I was feeling very demotivated. But despite that, I encouraged myself and I was like, okay, let's just go attend the meetup. And that meetup actually converted into a huge opportunity to work with a big name in the industry. And that's really served me well, right? So you need to learn to say yes to opportunities. See what you can do with the time you have. If you are just going to graduate or if you're going to be working early, see what else can you do apart from your time. I think when you are young, this is the time to explore, and you can only explore if you are actually going and trying out things. So start saying yes to opportunities if they align with your interests and passion or the long term plan you have in your life. The second takeaway I have for you is if you never ask, the answer is always no, right? Early on, when I was in my career, I used to feel shy asking for a leave, asking to leave early. But that's what I realized, that if you try asking, there's only going to be two things: it's going to be a yes or it's going to be a no. So there's a 50-50% chance. But if you don't ask, there's a 100% chance that it's a no. So take your chances, step up when you have an idea in mind or when you need something, go up and ask for it. And the third final takeaway I have for you is whether you can or you can't, it's up to you. So if I take you back to my time at Deloitte, obviously working at a corporate, working at an MNC, it's really hectic. But there was this, I told you, right? I started my training career side by side while working at Deloitte as well. So, and even so the basic public speaking program was kind of small, and I started doing it while I was at Deloitte. So I had to take permission from my manager, and it became a really hectic schedule for me. Go to work, go for the workshop, come back from the workshop, work for office late night, right? So it's up to you how much you are willing to push yourself. So on that note, I would like to end this talk and leave you with the fact that you are the one who has to decide what's important for you, and just go for it, and based on your life priorities, make the choices. Thank you so much for having me here, and wishing you guys all the very best.
Thank you so much, Kamna, for such amazing takeaways. I'm sure these takeaways will help the students out here in order to navigate, or in order to set a tone once they start their career journey. So thank you so much. It was amazing to know your journey and your insights around career readiness. Thank you so much, and we shall
Thank you.